There's a moment many teachers recognize instantly. Even if they never talk about it out loud, you wake up already tired, not physically tired. That's manageable, I think, but mentally and emotionally drained. The idea of stepping into the classroom, opening your laptop, or even replying to one more message feels heavy. You still care about your students, but the spark feels dimmer. And the most dangerous part? You start thinking, maybe this is just how teaching is. Burnout in language teaching doesn't arrive all at once. It creeps in quietly. It hides behind professionalism, behind smiles in class, behind well prepared lessons. It often disguises itself as dedication, extra planning, extra emotional labor, extra availability, until one day, the passion that once fueled you starts consuming you instead. Language teachers are particularly vulnerable to burnout because our job is not just cognitive, it is deeply emotional. We don't teach neutral content. We teach communication, identity, confidence, culture, self expression. Every class requires presence. Every lesson requires energy. Every student interaction requires emotional regulation, empathy, and adaptability. And unlike many professions, the product of our work, which is learning, doesn't always show immediately. And this is how we start this episode, my wonderful listeners. And as I always say, sit down comfortably, grab yourself a coffee, and let's get started.
Woo! Let's go!
In research on teacher burnout, especially Maslach's well-known framework, burnout is described through three dimensions: emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and reduced personal accomplishment. Language teachers experience all three, often simultaneously. Emotional exhaustion shows up as constant fatigue and irritability. Depersonalization appears when teachers emotionally detach from students as a form of self protection. Reduced personal accomplishment emerges when teachers start doubting their impact, their competence, and even their professional worth. What makes burnout in language education especially complex is that many teachers blame themselves. They think they are not resilient enough, not passionate enough, not disciplined enough. And this is a lie the system quietly teaches us. Burnout is not a personal failure. It is often a structural outcome. Let's be honest. Language teachers are frequently undervalued. It's reality. In many contexts, we are expected to be entertainers, therapists, cultural ambassadors, and assessment machines, all while dealing with large classes, unrealistic expectations, low pay, unstable contracts, and constant evaluation. Add to that the pressure of accents, native speakers bias, visa insecurity, or online teaching overload. And burnout becomes almost inevitable if boundaries are not actively protected. One of the earliest warning signs of burnout is the loss of joy in preparation. Lesson planning starts feeling mechanical. Creativity feels forced. You reuse materials not because they are pedagogically optimal, but because you simply don't have the energy to innovate. Another sign is emotional leakage, snapping at students, feeling resentment toward colleagues, or becoming overly sensitive to feedback. These are not character flaws, they are symptoms. Burnout also manifests physically. chronic headaches, sleep disruption, muscle tension, lower immunity. The body keeps the score long before the mind admits something is wrong. Many teachers push through these signals, telling themselves they'll rest after this term, after exams, or after the next break. But burnout doesn't resolve itself through short holidays alone. It requires structural and psychological charge. One uncomfortable truth we need to confront is that passion alone is not a sustainable fuel source. Passion without boundaries leads to exploitation, sometimes external, sometimes self-imposed. Many language teachers over-identity with their role. Teaching becomes their identity, their self-worth, their measure of value, when results are slow or appreciation is missing. The emotional crush is brutal. So, what do we do? The first step in dealing with burnout is naming it, not minimizing it, not romanticizing it, or comparing it to others who have it worse. Burnout deserves language. When teachers articulate what they are experiencing, they reclaim agency. Silence protects systems, not people. The second step is redefining what it means to be a good teacher. A good teacher is not the one who sacrifices their health, time, and dignity. A good teacher is sustainable. Sustainable teachers plan differently. They reuse materials intentionally. They say no without guilt. They design lessons that work with their energy, not against it. Research on teacher well-being consistently shows that autonomy is one of the strongest protective factors against burnout. Even small choices, how you structure a lesson, how you assess progress, how available you make yourself, restore a sense of control. Burnout thrives in environments where teachers feel powerless. Another critical factor is community. Burnout isolates. Teachers withdraw, believing they are alone in their exhaustion. In reality, many colleagues are experiencing the same thing but hiding it behind professionalism. Honest conversations with other educators, without toxic positivity, can be profoundly restorative. And not every conversation needs solutions. Sometimes validation is enough to breathe again. There is also a need to renegotiate the emotional contract we have with our work. You can care deeply without carrying everything. You can support students without absorbing their struggles. Emotional boundaries are not cold, they are ethical. They allow you to remain present without being depleted. Now, let's talk about rest. Because rest is often misunderstood. Rest is not just sleep. Rest is cognitive relief, emotional relief, identity relief. It means having spaces where you are not a teacher, where your worth is not measured by student outcomes, where your brain is allowed to wonder, create, or be quiet. Burnout recovery also involves grief. Grief for the version of teaching you imagine. Grief for lost enthusiasm, for the time and energy you gave without replenishment. Acknowledging this grief is not weakness. It is part of healing. What do you colleagues think about it? I want to read you in the comments. Share your opinion. I'll check LinkedIn to all my LinkedIn followers. Now, for some teachers, dealing with burnout may require stepping back, reducing hours, changing institutions, shifting age groups, or even temporarily leaving the classroom. And this is not quitting. This is recalibration. Teaching is a long-term profession. Longevity requires adaptation as well. And there's another episode where I actually talked to Mike Lehman. Mike Lehman is a wonderful person who's actually helping teachers worldwide to leave the career. He's offering a way out to a different career, a different profession if you are already burned out or you don't feel satisfied with the results of your career. Because let's face it, our system, it's collapsing. It has already collapsed. And we have wonderful people like Mike Lehman who can help you find yourself there. So I recommend you to go back a little bit and go to one of the episodes, I think around episode 110, somewhere around, and tell me what you think. Well, and here's the part that deserves to be said clearly. If you're burned out, it does not mean you chose the wrong profession. It means the profession needs to change. And until it does, teachers must protect themselves. Language education at its best is transformative. It opens doors, builds bridges, and gives people voice. But the teacher's voice matters too. Your well-being matters. Your humanity matters. Burnout does not erase your impact. It signals that something important needs attention. Listening to that signal may be one of the most professional acts you ever make. And until next time, keep caring, but not at the cost of yourself.